I think he could manage big clubs.
Is that a big club, Paul?
Bigger clubs.
So you can't turn up and be rubbish, can you?
Well, he has been.
As soon as he's out of that Manchester City team, the whole team is different.
That nonsense at the end of the season, we're reviewing the season. You review the season when it's happening. They were basically talking to other agents.
I cannot tell you what happened in that game. I've no idea.
You're also benefiting from the fact that your club's spending loads of money, and
I wish we could.
I can't believe a Tottenham fans hammering Man United.
This is the world we live in. It's weird, isn't it?
If he makes a bad start to the season, he could be out on his ear. Why would he not take the England job now?
I think she likes Jurgen, doesn't she?
I love Jurgen.
Mention United.
Yeah, I was getting around to that.
Hi and welcome back to this episode of The Fan Debate, brought to you by Sky Bet. And this week the fans are going to be asking me and Scholesy some questions. So you guys have got some questions for us, yeah?
Yes.
So we'll start with Big Steve.
You ready for this one?
Come on.
How long will Pep stay at Manchester City?
A year.
So we'll finish this season. And
Yeah, I think this season will be his last season.
What about you, Scholes?
Yeah, I'd go along with that. I think he's been at a club longer than he's ever been, yeah.
Can't see him doing that 10 years.
Fingers crossed.
he's running from that
think?
115 as well, isn't he?
It's, to be honest, the general consensus between the fans and that was this will be his last season, but then there's talk now that they're going to try and persuade him, which Scholes will be crying like, but hopefully we can persuade him. But me personally, I do think this will be his last season.
Do you think he wants out just in case the charges go wrong? And he's thinking,
No,
because he shouldn't be allowed to leave if that happens.
Guys,
I think you can't benefit from all the good stuff.
He said if that happens, he's going to go down to the second division with you, didn't he? He
Why not?
came out and said that last season.
I'm ready for it. I've
You'll
got
be welcome at Salford, you next
Yeah, listen, hey, we're just building that new expansion and getting ready for League Two.
Clive.
Easy one really for you, and I'm sure you're going to give me an answer. What player would you sign for Arsenal for them to finally win the league?
I mean, it's who's realistic. I think you need a world-class... When you say a world-class attack, I was thinking about this as well. You watch the Euros, and we're saying Arsenal need a striker, but Germany strikers have it. Who'd have thought in the past, Germany's centre-forward wouldn't be good enough to win someone a Premier League? Even Martinelli's in the Brazil squad, isn't he? He gets caps for Brazil, but we still look at him and think, is it enough? I think it just shows how strong the Premier League is now. But to bring someone in, for me, it'd have to be an attacking player. Who would you say is realistic? Who are the supporters looking at? Because I could give you a name of someone who's playing at a top club, but you couldn't realistically buy them. Who are the supporters looking at and you think they could maybe get their hands on?
See, I think it's an attacker as well. I think we're about to fix midfield, get some depth in there. So it's going to be a forward player, and the player that we would all like, he's not gettable, is Isak at Newcastle.
Oh, good player.
That's the player.
He's a good player.
Because he plays off
Tony
the left
has to
and centre
be the more realistic choice, doesn't he?
Yeah, well...
I'm not saying he's ideal, but when you talk about a realistic signing, you think Tony to Arsenal should be doable.
Yeah, I don't think that one's going to work. I think they'll look at him and it's not quite right for them where they are. But Isak's the dream signing. Obviously, Nico Williams at Atletico Bilbao is another one. But you're looking at a pace-driven, quite a physical forward that can add some penetration to our team. I think what we found last season, late in games, if we didn't score, we didn't have the ability to power up. So we didn't score at Villa, we didn't score at Newcastle, we didn't score at City, we didn't score at Bayern. And this is the sort of thing we have to fix. And so once you see us off for 75 minutes, we haven't got that next gear offensively.
Do you think you can get improvement out of Jesus?
I think it's going to happen. Fortunately, I did go to LA to watch pre-season, and he's running around like a 2-year-old, honestly.
But you think he'll improve?
Yeah, he looks really sharp.
I think he's always run about.
He finishes like a 2-year-old.
What do you mean by running around? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
He looks really sharp. So physically...
Yeah, but did he score?
Did he score? He scored against Man United.
It was offside though, that in the deco.
Well, yeah. Eric Ten Hag won't mention that too often. But however, I think, he looks really sharp. So now, back to his last action stuff, right? He's finishing.
Yeah.
Abi?
What's one piece of advice you give to the new Liverpool manager or head coach? He's a head coach, really.
Be yourself. Do not try and be Jurgen Klopp in the press conferences. Be yourself. I know you mentioned that before, didn't you, about you sort of waiting. But that's probably just getting used to not having Jurgen Klopp there. But I just think don't try and copy anything of Klopp, even if that might be the way the team plays. Just come with your vision, your idea. Be yourself, because you know, nothing's better than the original. No one's going to be a better Jurgen Klopp than Jurgen Klopp. So, be Mr. Slot.
I feel like people are doing that to him though, because in press conferences, every single one of them I've watched, he's getting asked questions about Jurgen, and I think that's not fair on him, to be honest. I feel like that needs to stop now. Journalists listening, stop asking
I think that'll
questions.
soon wear off though, won't it? Well, once the season
so.
starts, you maybe win 4 or 5, or lose 4 or 5 games.
Yeah,
That
well, that's the
will
thing.
soon stop,
If it doesn't start off good, everyone's just going to be going straight to all the Jurgen questions, and I just feel like that'd be unsettling for him. But I also feel as though he needs to sort of like enjoy it, sort of get behind the fans, learn what we're like, you know, just in the same way Jurgen did. You don't have to be Jurgen, but like...
I think she likes Jurgen, doesn't she?
I love Jurgen, but you know, just sort of like learn what we're like, learn the way we are, just in the same way Jurgen did. Just be yourself.
What do we always say?
How many times have you said
Yeah, he
Jurgen?
gets us. Get us, exactly. He gets us. Just learn
What's
to
his
get
name?
us. Arne Slot. Jurgen Klopp, I mean. Yeah.
Adam, what have you got for us?
Scholes has been on Instagram saying he thinks Kobbie Mainoo's better than he ever was at that age. Just talk to me about him and your thoughts on him and how good you think he can be.
Yeah, I think it's just the matureness he's shown. What's he played in his career, 30, 40 games? I just think it's amazing what he's done already in a struggling team. Okay, like they've won the FA Cup, he hasn't achieved massive things, but coming into a struggling team and the way he's conducts himself, the talent he's shown. Because someone compared me to him. That's why I put that on Instagram. Somebody compared me to him, and I thought, when I was just coming into the team,
he was a striker, weren't you, at that point?
Well, yeah, centre forward. Yeah, I was all over the place really at that age. But when I was coming to the team, everything was just happening so fast around me. I remember playing. I think one of my first games was Aston Villa away, actually, playing in midfield with Paul Ince and Eric Cantona, and I thought, fuck me, I don't know what's going on here. Honestly, I cannot tell you what happened in that game. I've no idea. But when I see him, he just looks so relaxed, so
plays with wing mirrors,
so mature. Pardon?
He plays with wing mirrors. He can see everything coming.
Yeah, he can see everything, but it's not so much his awareness. It's just the way he's conducting himself, the smoothness, and I think it's just a joy to watch him. He will get better.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how well he played in that Holland game, considering, obviously you're saying, what was at stake, like a semi-final for England. I think when you play for England, there's more eyes on you. It probably is more pressure even than when you play for United or Liverpool, because it's like every journalist, every fan is just... The way he played in that semi-final, I was just watching it, just in awe of him, really. You're thinking... You know what it's like, isn't it? You're playing a big game, and sometimes you're a bit nervous, your first few touches, you want to get your first pass off. And he was just like, he's just running the game, just strolling through midfield. He looks like...
There are loads of clutch moments as well. Scored against Liverpool, the goal against Wolves, scores in a cup final. He's adding goals to his games. We just got to make sure we don't kill him in that midfield, because if we have that space behind him, he's going to be ruined. As
Karen mentioned there in the semi-final against Holland, it's like they don't understand how big these games are. Yeah. It's like it's another game, like they're playing with their mates down the street, and I'd be thinking, fucking hell, it's Euros semi-final or the World Cup quarter-final. I think, Jesus Christ, they just don't care. I don't know if it's about that's all young players, I don't know, but especially Kobbie, he's just so relaxed. As Jamie said, he ran the game in the semi-final. It was brilliant.
Flav,
you asked me how long you thought Andrew would stay at Spurs, but I'll ask you the same question. How long do you think he will stay?
I think he will start next season. So I think he'll do this season, but I think the following season, I think the real questions will start to be asked, because I think right now Tottenham fans are just pleased that the football's different than Conte, Mourinho, Nuno. So I think he's got that. I think this season, I think Tottenham will do what Tottenham do and probably just miss out on top 4. You know, I think most people, I see Tottenham as a team who finish between 4 and 7th. More often than not, it's between 5th and 7th. I don't think they'll finish top 4 next season, and then obviously it cranks up a little bit more, and then the questions will really start to be asked the following season. It depends how well Tottenham and Ange start the season.
Great.
What else does any Tottenham manager ever do? What else is there to do?
It's funny you say that, because if you look back at there's only maybe twice where our managers have been sought after and potentially going to be leaving the football club: Harry Redknapp and Pochettino. Other than that, it's all been a failure. But I just think Postecoglou is a little bit different. He's more in that mode.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think the only way he'll leave is to go to a bigger club.
Yeah.
I think there'll be teams after him. There's not many. There's quite a few.
About Real Madrid.
I think that gunning comes. It's all right coming across good, but his team's obviously got to play good football and win things ultimately at the top. Now, he could get close to that top 4. I think that could be a big. That could be a big boost.
2 points off
as a manager.
2 points off it. What's that? That's 1 win.
I think he could manage. I think he could manage big clubs. I don't think it'd be a problem to him.
He's at a big club, Paul.
Bigger clubs.
It's only Tottenham, remember.
Alex.
I'm supposed to ask you, will Cole Palmer become the best striker in the league? But also, at what point is Pep going to have to stop doubling down and admit he got that one wrong?
Yeah, listen, it is one he's got wrong. But you know what? I almost, in some ways, admire Pep. I don't think he would have envisaged what happened last season at Chelsea in terms of he had that much talent. But number one, he's got Foden and Bernardo Silva. And I think managers in the past would almost maybe not sanction that year because they don't want to look, he's going to Chelsea, another big club, he could do really well, makes me look silly. But fair play to Pep Guardiola, he's given the lad a chance, and fair play to the lad. To go out and go and play, real Manchester lad, he's gone to London, huge club at Chelsea. And I actually think last season, when we pick we pick team of the year on Monday Night Football and player of the year, I was just swapping all day between Foden and Cole Palmer, looking at it, because I was thinking, every time I watch Cole Palmer, he scores a goal or he creates a goal. And he's probably actually more influential for Chelsea than Foden is for City. But then I think Foden scored a goal at the Bernabeu or something. You think, it's the Champions League semi-final or something like that. But for me, Cole Palmer was basically the best player last season in the league alongside Phil Foden. He was that good. I just hope the change of managers doesn't affect him. Because I think Pochettino with young players, what he did at Tottenham, what he did with Cole Palmer, what he did with a lot of young players at Chelsea, second half of the season. I thought Chelsea were going places, and I hope we don't sort of see a drop off in Cole Palmer, because I think he's a superstar.
He's even more impressive because I heard a rumour that he literally subsists on nothing but Haribo and fried eggs as well.
He's a Manchester lad, isn't
he? Yeah.
Scholesy, how good can Cole Palmer be?
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought he was brilliant last year. I think that's quite plain to see. He was Chelsea's by far and away the best player. I would have liked to see him play a lot more in the summer.
Where think the problem for any England manager, because you've got Saka who likes to play on the right, left foot. I think Foden's best position's almost on the right, cutting in on the left foot. Cole Palmer's the same. How does the New England manager fix that?
Eventually, you're going to have to choose
one over the other.
You're going to have to choose one over the other. I think he's better off coming from that right-hand side. I know he's been talked about as a striker. Did he play a lot for Chelsea as a striker last year?
He played number 10.
With a car crash, probably played in goal at some point as well.
Yeah. I think at some point you've just got to choose. And I think if you choose it now on this day, then Cole Palmer has to be in front of Saka.
Well, interesting. I actually think, if you think of all those three players, and you said to me, who's the best player, I'd say Phil Foden. But
yes,
I would say Saka for England has done a lot more than Phil Foden. And I actually think in those snippets in the summer, Cole Palmer actually has almost done as much, if not more, than Phil Foden in an England shirt, even though he's hardly played. I'm still waiting for Phil to see the Man City Phil. The Man City Phil Foden for me is one of, if not the best player in the Premier League, certainly in the top 2 or 3. The Phil Foden for England, I think he's fighting to be in the team. And I think Cole Palmer, sooner or later, if he continues, he's got to be given his head. I think Saka, even in the summer, was still one of England's best attackers.
You've got to say that's systematic of the England setup though as well, wasn't it? Not getting the best out of the individual players.
I'd agree with you, Jamie, on the Saka and Cole Palmer thing. I think Phil Foden didn't exist so well outside of the City system. I don't think it was supported. We didn't really pick a left back for him that he could play with. There's no connections there. So in the end, as you know, the environment and the relationships you build in the team are really important. I think Cole Palmer builds relationships. I think Saka builds relationships. Foden found himself a little bit down. Not saying he's a bad player, because City obviously
he's a great player.
He's done everything, right? He's got every medal in his back pocket, and he's only about 24. So, but system means something, and he looks like a system player at the moment, whereas the other two look like they can go to multiple teams and play well.
Well, we'll see. Luke?
What would be success for Villa in the Champions League and Premier League as well? So what would be a successful season?
Rosie?
It's all different, the Champions League this year, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I
was going to say get out.
So it's like one big group, and then the top 8.
It's one big group, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was it a group of 8 teams or something?
Yeah, and you only play each other
So
once.
basically, everyone's in the group,
right? Okay.
And then the top 8 go straight to the knockouts, and then the middle 16, I think, play each other. I think
straight to the knockouts would be a success, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think the Conference League would have helped Villa? You know, like there's a lot of comparison about like Newcastle and Villa, and are we going to do the same? But do you think getting deep in the Conference League and adapting to European life would help?
I think you've got a bigger squad, if I'm right. Newcastle had a horrendous injury problem as well, and that might be something you have to deal with. You always have to remember the experience of your manager in Europe is fucking incredible. Did he win the Europa League 4 years on the trot or something?
Yeah.
So he knows what he's doing. He knows how to go from a Wednesday to possibly a Saturday morning at times. They're all the challenges that it's going to be for him. But I think you've got a manager with great experience, and I don't think it'd be a problem to him.
I think in terms of the Premier League, I don't know if you said it or Lee said it with Newcastle in that. But did you say about just getting back into Europe next season?
Yeah.
You say I actually think that's really realistic and a sensible approach rather than thinking, right, we're going to be in the Champions League again every season, because more often than not the teams will be supposedly the top 6, or certainly the 6 teams with the most money, eventually will come back in terms of getting it right transfer-wise. But I think it is a sensible way of thinking about if Aston Villa could become a European club, consistently year after year, you're in that top 8, you're in top 7, you're challenging for top 4, you can't get there every season. But if you're consistently getting European football, eventually you do a West Ham, you win the Conference League, you have that night that you all want, travelling abroad, to celebrate. So I think that'd be pretty sensible to get European place again. Yeah. So, Lee, Newcastle?
Yeah, to both of you, what would you do with FFP? Because it's it's affecting a lot of clubs. If you had a magic wand, what would you change about it?
You can answer that, Carragher.
There's definitely been a lot of frustration, hasn't it, with clubs, but
is it fair?
Maybe I'm saying this from a Liverpool point of view because we've almost been seen in the past as almost the model to try and maybe challenge a Man City or a Chelsea, in that it's not just about buying, it's about selling well as well. And it's not just like, okay, we've got loads of money, we're going to buy lots of players. It's actually not winning, being clever and cute in the transfer market. And that's what certain teams have been. They have done that. And Liverpool being one of them. I think Arsenal have done that quite well as well. And I think if we just allow everybody just to spend exactly what they want, and there's no fallback. So if you're let's say City, because Big Steve's looking straight at me, and there's no FFP at all, and Pep Guardiola comes in and he buys 5 players, they don't work, it doesn't matter because we're going to buy another 5 next season, and eventually it will work because the quality of player you're bringing in, and this could be City, it could be United, it could be Chelsea, it could be Liverpool, any of the big clubs. I like the fact that if you buy someone and it doesn't work, your judgment's been wrong, your scouting's been wrong, your system that you're playing with has been wrong. That's got to hurt you. It's got to affect you thinking, oh, we've spent that money. No one's going to buy him at the moment because he's not playing great. We're going to have to stick with him. We might be able to spend what we can spend the next season. So I think I look at it from that in terms of like management and structure of a club. And I actually think some limits on maybe spending or whatever it may be, I actually think should bring the best out in coaches. So it's not always about buying players. It's about, okay, this is the team that I've got. I can't buy. We need to sell this summer. Right, how can I make this team work?
Is a points deduction fair on the fans, though? Because it's hurting the fans.
Yeah. I mean, listen, well, is it fair? What I would say on that, any punishment you could say, well, is that fair on the fans, I suppose, in some ways, but is that fair? So if there was a points deduction for Newcastle, that's because maybe you broke the rules the year before in terms of spending. But if that then got you in the Champions League or kept you up or got you in Europe and stopped another team doing that, how was it for their fans? So we had the Nottingham Forest fan on here last season, and he said, I'm glad we broke the rules because we stayed up. Yeah, okay, I get him saying that as a fan, but what about the team that went down? So there has to be some sort of, whether it's what do you think it should be? A huge fan? A huge fan's not going to affect you, is it?
No, it's not going to affect the big clubs, is it? Because they've got all the money in the world. So I would, if it was to happen to the next club, just ban them. You can't sign anybody for the next transfer windows. I think that's more sensible than given Leicester, who are coming up, already a mammoth task by on -6, could be more, or Everton have been done by Forest, who's the next club. I don't think a points deduction is fair on the fans.
There has to be some form of punishment and deterrence to breaking the rules.
Yes, I agree on that.
You just go, you can't buy players anymore, then someone will go out and buy 20 players in one summer, and we don't need to buy players for the next 3 windows. Anyway, you can think about everything and go, what about the fans? Ultimately, there has to be a punishment, there has to be a deterrent for clubs breaking the rules, and it can't be, oh yeah, let's just ban them, because they might. You can. I
mean, that's what I would do. I would ban that.
Of course, it bothers the fans, but you're also benefiting from the fact that your club's spending loads of money. And
I wish we could.
We're
not allowed to. We're not allowed to.
All right, Martin, Southampton.
Yeah, how important are pre-season friendlies? Do they matter to how well a team does in the season? That's to both of you.
My experience of pre-season friendlies, do you know what? It got harder as we got older. I don't know why. When we first came through, probably same with Carragher, we used to play rubbish teams, really.
Just go to Ireland or Norway.
Go to Ireland, Norway, you go to the Far East, and you're winning 5-6. Now everything's great, your confidence is great. But towards the end, it become a lot harder. We were playing like in Barcelona and Real Madrid. You think we were fit after them games. I tell you, like us running after the ball. Look, you want to win, of course you want your confidence, you want your strikers scoring goals. I can't imagine our strikers going through pre-season without scoring goals, midfield players playing well, defenders trying to keep clean sheets. It's all about getting your confidence, but there has to be some importance to it, of course, as to results. But ultimately, it's all about fitness. And when it comes to that first game, well, this week the Charity Shield or the weekend, after in the league, as long as your team are ready, you're ready, fitness-wise, then what's happened in them previous 5 or 6 games, I don't think it really matters
I think if you have a good pre-season, you know, the fans are happy, you're happy, you've had a good pre-season, and if you have a bad one, you almost write it off and just say, oh, it's only pre-season, we're getting fit. So you take the positive, but you don't really take the negative too much. I mentioned to Alex about the Chelsea one. I think sometimes when results stand out, you'll think a result will jump out at you from one of the teams or maybe one of your rivals, and certainly watching Chelsea this season, like you see Celtic winning 4-0, you just think, oh, that doesn't feel. You can lose 2-1, but sometimes something could jump out at you. Where I think the Chelsea, I think that the pre-season will be a little bit of in the players' minds and the managers' minds.
It's interesting hearing you say as a player it was about getting fit and everything, because I was talking to Pete, who's here with me, and we were saying that actually that a lot of the backlash coming out of the Chelsea pre-season tour is the fact that for clubs, they're all about making money. You go on these super tours with like 100,000 seater stadium in Ohio. They paid $100 each to watch, which we all knew would be a junk game of football. And the complaints coming out of it that there were no player engagement, there were no meet and greets, there were no stuff like that. And you literally, if you're going to use those pre-season tours to milk your foreign fan base, then they kind of deserve something in return for putting the money down. And that's what the bitching has been about from our pre-season.
The one thing I'd say about pre-season this year, and years when there's a big tournament, it's almost a waste of time. Your players, all your squad don't come together. I think United players probably won't come together till this week, the England players, all your international players. So it's really messy, and that's why the first 3 or 4 games can be a little bit dodgy. I don't think it's after till the international break when they'll come back in the middle of September, and I think that's when things will probably settle down.
Sorry, I was just going to say the ludicrous one for us was that post-season friendly. Where was it? Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Like catastrophic.
Didn't Tottenham do that as well this year?
Yeah, we went over to
Australia.
Yeah, just round the corner.
New Tottenham.
Was for Ange. Amy?
So Kieran McKenna has brought a beautiful style of football back to Portman Road, finally, after many, many years of waiting for it. But can playing good football be enough to help you do well in the Premier League?
No.
Not good football. I think he plays exciting football. I wouldn't call it good, like total football, like when we talk about Russell Martin and the teams we've mentioned. You don't ordinarily play out from the back and think we're going to build up through the thirds and score the perfect goal. I think it's more about exciting football with Kieran, and I like that. It's very much in the way United did do it, really, that they'll get the ball wide, they'll cross it into the box, they'll flood the box with players just to try and score goals and entertain. And look, you can say it's a little bit dinosaurish, I suppose, because you're not playing the way Pep plays or the way these great coaches plays, but it's a way of winning games of football. And I think you have to find the best way of your team being able to win games.
I just think everyone's got different styles. I don't think there's any right or wrong way to play, but I just think when you come up from the Championship, you're obviously one of the best teams in the Championship, so you're normally on the front foot, you're normally in possession of the ball, you're attacking a lot more. It's going to be a completely different game, so that you're not going to have as much of the ball, you're not going to be on the front foot as much, you're not going to be in the lead as much, so you have to be able to defend. So, and if you've got your team, even if you've got the best technical players, and we go back to Burnley last season, a lot of the players they brought in were small technical players, get between the lines. They don't have a chance to get between the lines, they don't have the ball. They don't have the ball as much as what they've had before. So you're asking these players now you've got in your team to defend and track back and defend set pieces. And it's listen, football is about getting the balance, whether you're at the top or the bottom, between attack and defence. Every team wants to score goals and keep clean sheets, and it's just how you get that balance, what style you play. But I do think when you come up from the Championship, something has to alter, whether your tactics or a style of play. You may bring bigger players. You might bring, we need a couple of bigger lads maybe in midfield to deal with set piece wise. We're going to be without the ball, we're going to be defending more. So
I think that game's going to be chaos.
Yeah.
I think you're looking at 3 alls, 4 alls, 5 alls. I think it'll be brilliant. I think it'll be great to watch.
We never give up.
You're going to score goals, and I think you're going to concede goals. Was it Blackpool years ago? He came up. The first
in Holloway,
brilliant.
But went down, didn't he?
He ended up going down. Sorry, but you're going to finish top 12. I told you.
All right, Jake Leicester.
Does chaos in pre-season mean struggles for the season?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's probably, I'm sure all the supporters here, we can all maybe go back to our own pre-seasons or a certain game that you look at and you think, oh, we end up going having a decent season, really. But as I said before, we maybe answered this earlier on in terms of the pre-season results. I think if you have a negative pre-season, I wouldn't say it's at the front of your mind, but it's definitely there. It's just at the back of your mind thinking, oh God, how's this season going to go? And you just go, and you're almost going into that first game with hope, really. Most people, if they've had a good pre-season, you're going in with belief and thinking it'll go well. And even two teams clashing on the first day can both go in with that same feeling that it's going to go well today. But I think you're going in with your fingers crossed if the pre-season hasn't gone particularly well. And we're almost in this game of trying to kid ourselves that it doesn't matter, when really we know there's just something lingering there.
Do you remember having a bad pre-season? I honestly can't remember. I'm not trying to be arrogant or cocky or anything. I can't remember us having a pre-season where it was
I think
bad.
you'd sometimes have would you not have listen, you were that good, and you're talking about the games that you played early on, and it wasn't later on that you played some good teams. I'll tell you a story. I remember when you talk about the pressure of playing for the big teams and what you said playing in pre-season. We went to a pre-season tournament at Real Madrid's ground, and I think it was the 4 teams who'd won like the Champions League the most. So it was like Real Madrid, AC Milan, us, and it must have maybe been Bayern Munich. And we lost the first game to Real Madrid 2-0. And we were playing AC Milan the next one. And Michael Owen at the time had like a bit of an hamstring issue. And Gerard Houllier was the manager, and I roomed with Michael Owen. So this was only a pre-season game. But almost, we were feeling the pressure because we'd lost to Real Madrid in the Bernabeu 2-0. I remember Gerard Houllier coming to our room. So I was rooming with Michael. And he was asking Michael, could he play in a pre-season game, even though Michael was saying, I'm not 100%, but he was like, could you not give me an hour? And it was like, but that's like and that was at the time when Houllier was almost coming to the end, he was feeling a bit under pressure. And that's what it felt like. Gerard Houllier felt like, we can't afford to lose this game in a pre-season game. And that's what sort of, I always sticks in my mind, that's almost like the pressure of managing a big football club. You're abroad playing a pre-season game, but there's still that feeling when you're at Chelsea, Liverpool, City, all eyes are on you, that you still got to get results. Even our TV channels now, in the past, you'd play away, no one would see the game. But now, LFC TV, Man United TV, City, Chelsea, every game's there, isn't it? Everybody's watching every game, so
you're paying a £5 a game, in our case, to watch it as well, so you can't turn up and be rubbish, can you?
Yeah, well, they have been.
Apparently you can.
No, but I just think, you know, I just think, I always go back to that story about when you're playing for a club who all eyes are on you, that even you can't afford to lose a pre-season game badly.
No. Whilst on pre-season, Scholes, do you remember getting suspended by the FA for getting sent off in Ajax?
Yeah.
You and Wazza. I've never seen it since, and I've never seen it before.
Did I were fouled? Remember Anderson?
Yeah.
He was he playing for Ajax?
No, he never played.
Porto.
Yeah, Porto.
Yeah, we played against Porto, got sent off, yeah.
I've never seen someone get suspended by the FA for that.
I didn't deserve to. Yeah, me and Wazza got suspended.
Yeah.
Bad tackle?
I don't think it was that bad, no. It might be slightly late, but I don't think it was that bad. He got up anyway, Ando got up. Pardon?
It's not like you for a late tackle.
No. Mistimed.
Right, so next we've got questions for the fans, and we've got our famous paddle predictions.
It's like ready, steady, cook.
Green if you agree, red if you disagree. Arne Slot will be a failure.
Maybe at the beginning.
Oh, there's more greens here.
A little bit of hope.
Yeah. Well, can I ask, I'll tell you what, rather than, who shall I ask that one? I'll tell you what, I'll ask Adam, even because he's a Man United fan, he's not going to be there, maybe have that Liverpool bias. What would be classes of, what would be a positive, what would be a failure for Arne? So what would he have to do in 2 or 3 years?
I mean, 2 or 3, like by failure, I mean, I think it could, if it don't work out, it could be gone this season. Possibly.
No chance.
You don't think
no
so?
I'm not saying, I don't know how he'll do.
European
I just know Liverpool's structured ownership, I mean, I just don't see any way he would lose his job.
Have you got a long-term plan with him?
No, not so much that. I just don't think the way Liverpool are now with transfers and everything's a bit. Liverpool's a calm club, isn't it? I would say in terms of the structure of the clubs. They haven't signed anyone yet.
That's just not how we do things.
I just think Liverpool managers, unless it's the only time I can remember that was Roy Hodgson, where the fans were
expectation that Klopp has built.
Yeah, but I think if we got in the top 4, I think every fan would say, okay, we accept that. I think if we come, listen, if you finish 7th, listen, David Moyes is probably an example, if you like. That David Moyes didn't lose his job because he never won the league. It's because they come 7th. If he'd come 4th, he'd probably still be in the job, wouldn't he?
But I do think that there's a big change with. I think Jurgen Klopp was more important than just being a great manager for Liverpool.
Yeah,
I think he controlled everything at the club.
You're
going to have a big vacuum there now.
I think Arne Slot is coming to a very good team.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a lot, I don't think, to get where they want to be. And they had a great season last year.
Last season was a great building process, wasn't it?
They were almost. I just fell away the last few games, and I think try and compare Dutch coaches with Ten Hag. Ten Hag came into a right mess. Arne Slot is coming into a very good squad of players.
Yeah, well, there's a good one. Here's a good one. Yeah, you'll be involved in this one. Right, are you ready with the paddles? Man United will have a better season than Liverpool.
We did last year, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
All right. Scholesy? What would you be holding up? Should we be holding them up? Should we have our own?
I'd be having, is it red that or burgundy? What is it?
We need to get Scholesy a paddle. Who's got a spare paddle?
A paddle, yeah. I think we'll struggle to do as well as Liverpool.
Okay.
As much as I'd like it to be the other way around. As I just said there a minute ago, I think Liverpool have got a really good squad of players. They're settled, really, with 1 or 2 additions. I think they could be a real threat. I think United have got too many issues at this point to get anywhere near them.
Good. Right. Man City won't win the league. Okay, so we all fancy that. All 3 promoted teams will get relegated. Yeah, I hope that's not the case, yeah. Right. Eddie Howe will become England manager.
No chance. No chance. It's not happening.
No?
It's not happening. Too much.
Well, if he makes a bad start to the season, do you think you could sack him?
I think with the structure of the ownership's changed, that's a possibility now because PIF...
So why would he stay? Why could he not walk out, or is this contract a problem? Because if he's fearing that with a new structure, new ownership, new director of football, that basically if he makes a bad start to the season, he could be out on his ear. Why would he not take the England job now?
Because we won't have a bad start to the season.
That's the end of that one.
I think I'm not confident that without the European football, I think we will get in the region of top 5.
Will Chelsea finish in the top 4? You think they will?
14, yeah.
14.
Okay, yeah.
Can I have some of what he's smoking?
So there's one. We'll take one. Scholes, who do you think will be the top 4? So we know who you think would the top three would
Top
be.
three.
They'll get the other place.
I think it's wide open for 5. How many teams is it? Tottenham, Villa. No, I'm not sure Villa will. I think they've just had too much to contend with in Europe. Newcastle, big advantage, as he said before, only playing once a week.
You haven't mentioned United yet.
Yeah, I was getting around to that. United, yeah, if they click, as you say, they've got a nucleus. I think they've got to do a bit more work in the transfer market to get anywhere near it. So I'll rely on that and go for United.
Okay. Rodri will win the Ballon d'Or. Steve?
Yeah, 100%. Haaland was robbed of it last year. So what Rodri's done for Spain as well and Manchester City.
Well, you know when you say Haaland was robbed, I always think if there's a tournament in the year, whoever normally wins the tournament, so Messi wins the World Cup, normally that happens, that has always happened in the past, but Rodri's won the tournament, hasn't he? And obviously he's done amazing at City as well.
Yeah, Haaland last year, for me, for a young lad to come to the Premier League and do what he did and then win the treble, I just felt he was a little bit unlucky. But Rodri, I mean, he's just, there's no one like him at all, you know what I mean? And you see the impact of Rodri. As soon as he's out of that Manchester City team, the whole team is different. And then you watch him for Spain as well. And I think he deserves it. I do. And by all round, he's just an elite footballer, a good person. And like you say, it'd be great for him to do it.
I think the Spain thing could clinch it for him.
Yeah.
When you think of Ballon d'Or, you think of a flashy player, don't you?
Yeah, Vinicius
almost a number
Junior,
10 or a forward or a Neymar, something like that. Not quite that holding midfield player, but no, we all know how good he is. And the players he's playing with are brilliant as well. But I just think winning that tournament with Spain could give him a real chance.
It's interesting because the last player who sort of was Modric, wasn't it, who broke the sort of Ronaldo, Messi thing, but he's still what you'd say a flashy player. We're talking about a hold midfield player. It'd be remarkable, wouldn't it, really, if someone from that position won it?
Incredible, yeah.
It's probably the worst bunch in terms of the shortlist for him in a long time. Because you look at them, and Rodri's amazing, obviously, but you look at the players that are being talked about for it, and you think, best player in the world. Yeah. Like Vinicius is amazing, Bellingham, but a bit early.
We've been spoilt, haven't we? Yeah. Ronaldo or Messi, that's the problem. All right, Cole Palmer to win the Golden Boot.
Let's say something positive today, haven't I?
Right. Oh, sorry, there's only one. Alex.
At Chelsea, like our Golden Boot, maybe. Maybe.
Takes the penalties. Yeah. Do you think he's, for how good he was last season, do you think he's capable of going, is there another level for him to go? Considering the team he's playing for as well, by the way, it's not like he's playing for a team who are the best team in the league.
I think there is something in that maybe if he was at a City, he wouldn't be flying quite as high. I think the fact that he's kind of a big fish in a chaos pond right now does give him a chance to shine. Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's very young. And also as well, like if you listen to him interviewed and everything, nothing seems to faze him. He doesn't seem to get sucked into any drama or anything like that. He just turns up with his Haribo and plods on and does his job. Maybe just being relaxed about it all and not.
I think a lot will depend on the coach, you know. Where's the coach going to play him? Do you think with Pochettino, he had that number 10 role, that little inside, he had a lot of freedom, he was getting a lot of chances. Will Maresca be like that with him? We'll just probably have to let it stay.
The thing is, when you turn the managers over and the players over, as often as we are, like I said, we have no identity. I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
No, yeah.
Something's just come to me here, sorry for interrupting. You know, if Chelsea have another poor season, and you said before about Man United having a real problem on that right wing.
I think
he's a big Man United fan, isn't he?
Yeah. I think he's
Would that not be something that Man United should visit maybe in 12 months if it doesn't go well?
I did a clip for the social team earlier and I said I think Cole Palmer ends up at United and it's just...
You know what, I think that could happen.
I think United fan, isn't it?
I think that as well.
We're
12 days
definitely
will be
stupid enough to facilitate.
And we're stupid enough to give him 100 million, so everyone's a winner.
We should all be on an agent's fee if this kicks off, shouldn't we? Yeah, Cole Palmer for Man United. Will a manager be sacked before Christmas?
100%.
Definitely.
Give me some names. We've already done it, haven't we? Yeah. We did that last week, didn't we?
Ten Hag.
100%
Ten Hag. He just doesn't, he's all right, mate, but he doesn't fit.
You said Maresca before.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Did you not?
Well, him as well, but I could definitely see
you said
that.
Maresca before Christmas, I'm sure you did.
I didn't, but but Ten Hag, he doesn't fit in the hierarchical structure that they've created. If they were looking,
I
for
can't believe
else.
a Tottenham fans hammering Man United.
This is the world we live in. It's weird, isn't it?
Structure of the club.
If he was their manager, there'd be a statue of him outside.
So Jason Wilcox is in there now. You've got there is a structure.
The structure's supposed to help him, right?
It's they didn't want him. They were left with him. They wanted someone else.
I don't think that's the case. I think you have to do.
No, it is.
No, but I think you have to. No matter what club you're at, you have to. If you're coming in as new owners, you have to look at everything. And
I get that, but that nonsense at the end of the season, we're reviewing the season.
It was a bit dragged on a bit.
You ain't reviewing this. You review the season when it's happening. They were basically talking to other agents and managers. That's what they were doing. We all know that.
The PR on it is just so clunky as well. Like the big interviews he's been given the past week or so, like trying to convince everyone everything's great now. It
Everything
just feels
is great.
pushed. It's like,
why isn't Pochettino the United manager?
Because he's got enough money to last the rest of his life.
Maybe he's on guard and maybe he can't, right? There might be some contractual details that mean that he can't join United. But the actual reason is that he doesn't want to fit in that system. Like in the same way he left Chelsea for the same reason.
Will an English team win the Champions League this season? Abi, we've won it 6 times.
I know. Arnie might not do it.
Oh my God.
Who would do it?
Arnie can do it
my
next year.
God. Oh, I'm
Give
going
him
to
a
ban you
year.
from Anfield.
Give him a year to
There's some
fit in.
positivity.
You expect too much too soon.
Liverpool have got more chance of winning the Champions League than the Premier League.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's this whole new format as well. It's
Yeah.
confusing me.
We'll see. Right. Ooh. Will Hojlund score 20 goals?
All comps.
Yeah, go on, I'll give you all comps.
Next 3 years.
He scored 16 in a bad season, do you know what I mean? So surely
Might be a good season for him, you don't know.
he's already injured as well, so.
Scholesy, what do you think?
Yeah, of course he is. I hope. Do you know what? I think he's capable. He's another year into it. A young lad coming over trying to lead the line, as we said before, at Man United is very difficult. There were times in the season where he wasn't getting chances at times. I think the lad can finish when he gets chances. I think in the Champions League he was brilliant. Yeah. I think he scored 5 or 6 goals in the group stages, but just couldn't transfer that to the Premier League. But I think he'll be stronger. He'll be better this year.
He can score from inside and outside the box as well, which I like. He likes to sniff a goal out in the 6-yard box. He's confident shooting from.
You'd expect that though, wouldn't you, from a fellow who cost 70 million?
No, but
a
lot of strikers don't fancy that. You see them fanning about, hanging out on the edge of the box and not really getting involved. He seems like someone that's constantly annoying his defenders.
I think he'll strengthen up this year as well. I thought after 65, 70 minutes, he just looks dead. Now that's leading your line and on your own, of course, and you just learn little bits. I don't have to go and close in down there. I'll just save myself a little bit for important moments in the game. And he's going to have creativity around him. You think Garnacho, Bruno Fernandes, there should be enough chances, just whether they can take them. And I think the evidence of the Champions League last year, when he got chances, he's shown the composure to finish well.
Okay, that's good. Well, listen, thanks for joining us on another episode of The Fan Debate, brought to you by Sky Bet.